You guys ready? Good evening. Welcome to the City of Sugar Land City Council meeting. A little bit about our agenda tonight. In a minute, Suzanne's going to come down. Matter of fact, Suzanne, come on down. She's going to lead us in the invocation. Following the invocation, we're going to have a special guest. We're going to have Ricky Rayburn come down and lead us in the pledge to the nation's flag and to the Texas flag. And just so I go ahead and embarrass Ricky now, he's a little bit nervous about coming down here. He's normally used to being with just, one-on-one with people. So you're going to be fine, buddy. You're going to get it done. Suzanne?
Thank you. Can everybody please join me by standing? Thank you. Father God, we gather this evening with hearts both humbled and hopeful. In the wake of the hurricane that tested our community, we come together to seek your guidance and strength as we navigate the path to recovery. We are deeply grateful for the resilience and dedication of every member of our city, each person who has worked tirelessly to aid their neighbor, each volunteer who has extended a helping hand, and each city staff member who has devoted countless hours to restoring our city. Their efforts embody the spirit of unity and compassion that binds us together. Continue to guard and protect them, our first responders, and all who serve. As we move forward, we seek your wisdom for our city council members as we deliberate on matters before us. Grant us clarity of thought and unity of purpose in our decision making. Help us to make choices that reflect the best interest of our community, honoring both the immediate needs and long-term goals of our city. For all these things, we ask thee in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Suzanne. A little bit about Ricky. Ricky's been one of our faces at the front desk. And over the last year alone, he's donated over 250 hours of volunteer for the community. So it's my pleasure now to introduce Ricky Rayburn. Ricky, if you'd go ahead and lead us in the pledge.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Is it on? Okay, thank you. I'm proud to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, one state under God, one and individual. Thank you.
See, that wasn't hard. We're going to open down public comment. Public comment, people will be allowed 3 minutes. You have to speak about an item that's on the action item of the agenda. There's no limit as to the number of people. If you haven't signed up, you can still sign up. That won't prevent you from speaking. Our first guest is Azad Philistine, and they want to speak on item number 3B. Just for the record, is that the correct name?
It's a nickname.
Okay.
But my name's Amna Ishaq.
Okay.
But it's a nickname. Today I will speak on an agenda item 3B, the resolution of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, adopting policies to comply with the civil rights requirements of Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act, including civil rights, fair housing, Section 3, and equal opportunity laws designating July as Fair Housing Month. First off, I read the attachments associated with this agenda item online. There were a lot of attachments. The resolution clearly states about having a process for the city being required to establish or reaffirm the following policies. Quote, citizen participation plan and grievance procedures, fair housing policy, code of ethical conduct, economic opportunity, excessive force, equal opportunity, and non-discrimination. The entire resolution talks about fair and equal treatment. How is polluting our air in the middle of a housing units in Sugar Land, fair housing, when you are reducing the air and water quality for some of the most disenfranchised populations in our city. Clean air and water are basic human rights, and it is our elected officials' duty to ensure this right. So if all of you are voting for these mandates that are clearly listed in your agenda, why is it that no citizen participation plan and grievance procedure for your Arab, Palestinian, and Muslim population? Where is the ethical conduct by you all when you all are discriminating against this huge population in Sugar Land? The resolution 24-37 clearly states prohibiting excessive force at civil rights demonstrations. You all directed your Sugar Land PD to push a 14-year-old young Palestinian Muslim child out of your meeting a month ago. We even put in a complaint, and there was no process for that. So basically, your resolution is fair for the people who look like you and believe like you. Basically, y'all are trying to fulfill the requirements by declaring July Fair Housing Month, which is ridiculous and an empty gesture. What does that even mean? You all are liars, genocide deniers, free Palestine, free Sudan, free Congo, free all the...
If you could, let's refrain from anything. Do we have anyone else signed up? We're going to go ahead and move on now. We're going to move to item number 3, the consent agenda. We're going to take all these as one item unless a council member wants to pull an item. Do I have a motion? Got a motion by Watley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Kermali. If you vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. We're going to move on now to item number 4, ordinances and resolutions 4A. First and final consideration. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land ordinance number 2344. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, implementing certain emergency powers under a declared state of disaster relating to Hurricane Beryl by suspending certain fees and authorizing the city manager to take actions necessary to hasten recovery efforts in the city. We have with us Joshua Doyle, our chief building official, and Lisa Kosich-Meyer, our director of planning and development services. Joshua.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. July 8th, Hurricane Beryl impacted us and created prolonged power outages, downed trees, quite a bit of limb debris, and created quite a bit of wind and rain damages across the city. On July 8th, the mayor also declared a state of local disaster. To date, the City of Sugar Land has a history of providing relief to residents and businesses following storms and emergency disasters. These relief efforts help to minimize impacts when faced with repairs due to damages. Some history that we've had.
Joshua, excuse me. Folks, lower the sign, please, so I can see behind you. Do it now. Lower the sign, please. Mike.
Y'all, you're obstructing people from behind you being able to see. This is your last warning. If you not remove the sign or move to the back of the room where you've been informed that you can have it, you're going to be removed from here. If I can have the police department please ensure they're disrupting a meeting, that they leave the meeting and are not allowed back in for disturbing a public meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, let's see, where were we? Some history of what we've done in the past for these same type of efforts. We've waived fees for like roof repairs during Hurricane Ike. We had a variety of relief measures during Winter Storm Uri, where we waived fees for any repairs due to damage sustained during that storm as well. Even though we've been busy throughout this last week, mass efforts across the city, all the employees helping out with cleanup, a handout of ice, water, food. We wanted to bring this ordinance forward to immediately begin to help other ways, which is to help financially. So to waive the fees associated with any repairs that may have been caused by the storm. What is Ordinance 2344? It is an authorization to temporarily reduce or waive permit fees for repairs deemed necessary as a result of Hurricane Beryl. The duration of the authorization to grant reduction and waivers will be expire October 1st, 2024. This also authorizes the refund of all or a portion of permit fees paid from July 10th to July 16th for anything related to repairs from damage incurred as a result of the storm. Due to the declaration of the emergency, the ordinance will be effective immediately upon passage. This will be the first and the final reading. What we expect to see, we've been going throughout the city. We expect to see a lot of roofs, siding, anything caused by wind, fences, electrical services. We have seen quite a bit of electrical services that are going to have to be repaired. Signs, I'm sure everyone's seen signs blow down. Remodeling, we expect to see anywhere where a tree would have fallen into a structure, a house. We expect to see some remodeling. A lot of these will be immediately issued waivers. Some of them will do through verification, okay? We'll also be doing fee waivers for food permits and inspections. There'll be no special processing fee on annual permits expiring in July and August of 2024 if renewed by October 1st of 2024. We will reduce or waive pre-opening inspection fees when construction is required due to storm-related damages. We will also reduce or waive food establishment construction reinspection fees when required due to storm-related damages. Recommendations and next steps. We're recommending the approval of Ordinance 2344. Immediately after this approval, as soon as this is done, we are going to activate messaging through our website, through our citizen self-service portal, social media, HOAs, newsletters. Any way we can get the message out about the fee waivers, and then staff will provide updates to City Council throughout the process. Any questions?
Questions? Anybody? Go ahead, William.
I want to say I had something to do with this, forward thinking, but I had nothing to do with it. This is great thinking. I received 2 messages over the last 3 days about this. I didn't know you were going to present it except from the agenda. I'm blown away you guys are thinking this far in it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion? Got a motion by McCutcheon. Do I have a second? Second. Got a second by Lane. Vote this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you, Joshua. Item number 4B, first and final consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Ordinance number 2345, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, continuing a state of disaster until terminated by ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land. And we have with us Jared Thomas, our Emergency Management Coordinator. Jared.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and City Manager. Joshua stated we all know that we had a hurricane about 9 days ago. So I'm going to briefly take you through some of our steps and then talk about the continued resolution. So Hurricane Beryl did have a direct strike on the city about early on the 8th. So here's some of the actions that we took just for your knowledge. The city actually moved into an increased readiness level on July the 3rd. We actually had initial city planning and coordination calls starting on July the 5th. We had initial planning meetings for the EOC activation and operation on July the 6th. The Emergency Operations Center was activated at 24-hour operations on July the 7th, and Hurricane Beryl made landfall on July the 8th. Immediately following landfall, we increased our maximum readiness level, level 1. So we actually were bringing in, the EOC was completely activated at that point. We had activated all portions of the city, including labor pool and all the departments. Emergency contracts were executed at that time to start taking care of debris and other things. Also, on July the 8th, we began initial damage assessments and debris removal off the roadways to impacted areas, and also declared a local disaster declaration. Our disaster summary outline was submitted to the state on July the 10th, and that is where we start our initial impact statements to the state in the different categories. We activated pod operations on July the 11th and followed up on July the 12th. And sorry, pod stands for point of distribution, and that's where we were distributing food, water, and ice to impacted residents. And our debris contractors began work on July the 12th. Many of these actions continue to today. We have moved out of the response phase and more into the recovery phase now. However, we are still dealing with impacted individuals in the city. I believe as of this morning, we had 423 residents without power. And to date, the estimated cost to the city is currently at $5.5 million in response operations. So the local disaster declaration carries with it the weight of law, obviously. This allows the city to exercise some extraordinary powers. Is used during a time of disaster so that we are able to immediately respond to it and provide aid and comfort to our residents, restore critical infrastructure. Under 418, Chapter 418, Section 418.108, the mayor has the authority to declare a disaster for 7 days, and then it has to be reauthorized by city council. And so that's what we're here for today, is to reauthorize that disaster declaration moving forward. And the reason for that is because we are still continuing response and debris operations, and we still have a lot of individuals with individual needs. This disaster will likely continue on, maybe not in the public eye, but but for the city for several months. And so it is imperative that we continue this disaster declaration to continue to respond to this current situation. Currently, that we do have a disaster declaration, a federal disaster declaration for public assistance, which will take care of governmental organizations. And also we received an individual assistance declaration on Thursday, which will now open up certain funding sources for residents and businesses here in the Fort Bend and Harris County areas. So currently where we are in the disaster recovery continuum.
Jared, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and recess for a meeting until we can get this
Yes, sir.
distraction taken care of. It's very hard to pay attention to what you guys are doing when we've got all this other stuff. I apologize to those of you that are here. We're going to recess. I'm going to give it 10 minutes, and then council's going to go back to the council dining room, and then we'll come back in 10 minutes, see if we can get this thing wrapped up. All right, let's go ahead and reconvene. Jared, we were on item number 4B. Let me read it just so everybody can pick up. First and final consideration. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land ordinance number 2345, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, continuing a state of disaster until terminated by ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land. Jared, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I think I was talking about where we are currently in the disaster recovery process.
Yes, sir.
This is a really good diagram, and I know Caroline's going to love it. But you can see last Monday would have been the disaster here on the chart, and you can see that we are moving from short-term into intermediate recovery. And I will tell you that Sugar Land has done an amazing job to get to where we are so quickly. I know a lot of jurisdictions that are nowhere near as far along in what's going on than we are, so I'm very proud of that fact. But we are moving into that intermediate intermediate recovery phase where we're having to deal with more long-term housing issues for maybe potentially for some people. We're still assessing those needs. I know individuals have been requested to put information into the state's portal so that we can try to start identifying those individuals. And then into longer-term recovery, which may take months or years. I hope it's not going to be that long for this particular storm, because I don't think we sustained huge amounts of residential and commercial infrastructure damage, but it could be. So this is where we are currently in our recovery operations. And without any, I'm sorry, I think
Suzanne,
I was supposed to take that one out.
Suzanne has a question. Anyone else? Okay. Suzanne, go ahead.
Thank you. This information is so important to everyone. I have a question based on the kind of damage we saw, and we pretty much know it was mostly wind. Just to be clear, was there any damage caused by rain or drainage or any type of flooding?
I have not been made aware of any flood-related damages at all. If it was water damages, it was likely through the roof. I know that some of the, like windows, because it was such wind-blown rain, that it may have penetrated some seals around windows and that kind of stuff, but it was minor. It was not like Harvey or flood-related damages where it came up into the house. It was more blown into the house or come through the roof.
Okay, so the main culprit was wind.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
And can you elaborate a little bit on emergency services? Did we have any residents that had accidents on the road, things like that, in the aftermath of the event?
That I don't know. Chief, did any, as far as accidents, motor vehicle accidents or anything like that? I wasn't aware of any. Nothing major. Okay.
Great, that's wonderful.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion? Got a motion by Kermally. Do I have a second? Second. A second by Watley. Vote at this time, please. And it passed 7-0. Thank you, council members. We're going to move on now to item number 5A, City Council Member Report. Suzanne, start with you.
You know, Mayor, I got to say, I don't have much to report. I mean, I know we had the July 4th event, and I'm sure someone will talk about that, but I've been busy. I know all of us have been busy out with our constituents, so I'm going to leave it at that.
Jennifer.
Reporting that my neighborhood has been working very well together, especially on my street. And I also know that if you mix 1 part water and boiling water and 1 part Clorox, you can get rid of all the maggots in your trash can if you let it sit for 30 minutes with the lid on it. Anyway.
That's good to know, Jennifer.
It's been a lot of fun cleaning up, but we're looking really good.
It's amazing what you learn during a hurricane. Go ahead, William. Follow that.
No, I can't follow that, Mayor. I do want to say this. Our city responded very, very well to a Category 1 hurricane. But I have to do a shout out to Centerpoint, and I won't use their name. The young lady that I've been dealing with for a week now has been exceptional at communicating about our constituents and their concerns, and she would send emails at midnight. I just want the city to know that we have great people, in spite of their frustration, that were working hard through it all. And it wasn't just our city staff, it was also CenterPoint working really, really hard to make sure the power came back up in our community. And I'm thankful for all of them.
Stuart.
Thank you, Mayor. This morning, I had the pleasure of attending a meeting of the Houston-Galveston Area Council, and one of the agenda items was a resolution recognizing the service of one Joe Zimmerman as a retiring board member from the HGAC. And the thing that really struck me was people were lining up to say how much they appreciated the mayor's service on the board. And you may not know, but the HGAC covers how many counties?
13.
13 counties around the area. And to a person, they all said, you know, you really helped us in our county or our city. And I was there, and all I could think of was, you know, those folks only get him every now and then, but we get the benefit of his leadership every day. So it was a really big day for the mayor, and we're proud of him, and I want to make sure everybody knows that.
Thanks, Stuart. Carol.
I just want to say a huge thank you to staff for the tremendous job that you all have done since the hurricane. And of course, most of my time has been spent helping people, answering questions, getting out information. But I did want to commend the staff on an excellent July the 4th event. It was really, really great. And Stuart and I went to the city's pop-up at the Smart Financial Center Cooling Center, and I helped out at the National Guard point of distribution where we gave out water, ice, and MREs.
Thank you, Carol. Rashad.
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, have been inundated with phone calls, text messages, Facebook messages, Instagram messages, and I don't know what else, but I can tell you our city truly comes together when it's a time of need. And I want to thank staff for everything that you all have done. I've seen you all office personnel out on the streets picking up limbs, and it's just amazing to see that. I visited the EOC twice to really come charge my phones, and I saw the meetings that were happening. It was just unbelievable execution that I saw here. I also partnered with Seva International. They called me. They want to give meals out to those who are in need and the frontline workers. And we gave out 200 meals in Telfair, which is my district. From Maharaja Bog, we gave 200 meals from Ailings in New Territory, right when the lights came on at 4 p.m. in New Territory, and no one had anything in their refrigerator. And I will tell you that these are not the normal people that would line up for meals. This is New Territory, and in 21 minutes, we gave out 200 meals. And it was impressive to see there was truly a need in our city. Then next day, Fernando's, Suzanne was there. He said, I want to help. And I think, Suzanne, you delivered 30 to the EOC and fire department, hot spaghetti meals. We had people coming in from Missouri City because they did not have meals. It was truly, truly a need. And 100 meals to Missouri City EOC and our Sugar Land EOC. So it was just a lot of stuff. We still have people without power in our city and our surrounding counties, so we just have to continue to work with CenterPoint to make sure that they get on. But sorry for the lengthy report, Mayor, but I think it was important to highlight these restaurants, Maharaja Bog, Ailings, Seva International, and Fernando's for really stepping up this past week.
Thank you, Nishad. I'm going to speak a little bit about the EOC. So if you look at when we first saw Beryl coming through off from the African coast, our people here were on point. And what do I mean by that? I mean that they were watching that storm come through the Gulf, through the Windward Islands, through Jamaica, through the Yucatan. There were numerous reports about where it was going to go. Our staff, Mike, the E-team, all of you all, did an amazing job of not getting blinded by the fact that we think that's where it's going to go. The fact of the matter is, it came right over the top of us. And we were out, Mike, his team, myself were out early in the morning. When the storm came through, we were prepared. We had people working 24/7. We had 2 shifts, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we had people staying here with their families so that we could provide the best possible service to our public. I couldn't be more proud of the way our employees responded and continue to respond. So, that went all the way through last week, from the time the storm came through early Monday morning through Friday. We finally went to 12-hour days, and now we're on 8-hour days. Now that doesn't speak to the crews. Crews are still out there working 10 and 12-hour days. Those men and women are still out there making sure that we get the debris picked up, that we report to Centerpoint, houses that are still out. The 2 things I think that disappoint me the most on Centerpoint was, one, lack of communication, and the fact that I don't think they did a good job of preparing on the front end. Because for me, it's all about planning, preparation, and execution. You don't do the planning part, it's pretty hard to do the preparation part and the execution. I think that's where they got caught. That's for another day. We'll do an after action. I know at the state level, we'll be doing an after action report. I know the governor's going to be involved, the lieutenant governor, I suspect the legislature, and then the mayors from all 13 counties and the county judges will also do that. So be assured we are aware that there are people that do not have power. The most important thing right now is for you to get those addresses, those subdivisions, those streets into us. You can email them to me. You can get them into our EOC so that we can provide that to Centerpoint so that they know where they need to focus their efforts. Our debris cleanup will continue until we get all the debris picked up. That's just pure and simple. We've got 2 debris contracts that we activated early on. We learned from Winter Storm Uri that we want to be up front. We've got a very capable staff member, Don Steff, others that are working those debris contracts. I know many of our HOAs have responded with private contractors. Bottom line is we want to get the city back where it was before the storm so that everybody can get back to their normal lives. So again, my hat's off to all of you as staff. You're amazing individuals, and my hat's off to you. Mike, let's turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. I got to host a number of small businesses at Smart Financial a week or so ago, and then the good folks over at Prime Communications for Air Supply, and that was a lot of fun. I did not know who Air Supply really was before that, but they were good.
Too young for that.
They were good, Mayor.
I know Air Supply.
I do want to just real quick, a lot of the meetings I've been in have been EOC meetings. I just blown away by the staff in this city, the community itself. I mean, taking care of each other, the number of volunteers that have volunteered here. Also want to thank the county. Anytime we needed assistance from the county or the state, they stepped up immediately. We have great partners, and that is it. Thank you to all of our employees.
Got a motion to adjourn at exactly 6:10. Thank y'all for coming this evening.